Welcome back to Kin in Line. This is part 87 by my reckoning. With the world kind of in a dystopian place at the moment, with COVID having really destroyed civil liberties across the globe, and now a sort of distraction in Ukraine, with disinformation flying, it's probably appropriate that we get these images that are reflective of these were done in the 80s in apartheid South Africa, so it's possibly fitting that they are seeing the light of day at this time. Another of my sunburnt fellows with a sort of aerial on his head. This again might be symbolic of 5G or whatever. When we become sort of carriers of our own identity in some form or other that they can monitor and control. So McCarthyism comes to mind, doesn't it? Not Mrs. McCarthy, whoever she was. Look at this guy's eyes on stilt sticks. What's the saying? Anyway. Crazy, man. Crazy. So I'm not even sure. Yeah, no, I did. I must have done that bottom drawing. It has my shading technique. Richard Lovemore, famous PE name, Lovemore Heights, is named after the Lovemore dynasty. They actually started farming outside to Seaview Way around about 1820. So one of the oldest names in PE, settler names. And then that strange little floating kind of balloon-like creature behind. At least here we get some peaceful-looking bird-like creatures. These are no threat, I promise you. Pretty safe with us. But I cannot vouch for this guy. He looks dodgy. You know, what is he hiding behind his back? And where are his pupils and his irises? Just got blank, vacant eyes. But I like the shading again of this. I can just zoom into it. Yeah, no. You're fitting well in the New World Order. Likewise, this creature. Again, it's of unknown sex, you know. That's the beauty of the new regime. And you love the way the arm sort of squirms around to feed this guy. He's obviously getting, you know, he earns nothing, but he's obviously happy because he's getting enough food. This is one of the creatures that will just be commonplace in the New World Order. I think they float around and stab themselves on this spike and then just sort of fizzle out, which is quite fun to watch. Well, it's going to be fun. Okay, well, it's just a coincidence that we here now have a hangman. And this guy doesn't look too happy because possibly he's next on the list. I'm sorry to keep this so dark, but without electricity, things. And yeah, cremated in July. Something about somebody's ashes was a story I had to do. And there we got a wee Scotsman with a thick cowl neck. I think he's a Scot because it looks like a tartan hat. I even took to drawing on the bottom of a newspaper page. So this could be quite interesting just from the point of view of what prices you were paying back in the late 80s, mid to late 80s. What's something I'm familiar with. So whiskey was $17.99. This is all the cheap stuff, but I mean, mainstay. I think my dad drank that, cane spirits, 10 rand 99. Piper's whiskey, 100 Pipers, that was a good Irish or Scotch whiskey. I remember my brother Alistair used to say, "What was that?" "Ah, the sound of 100 Pipers." And that was a sign for us to go drinking. But here I've doodled all sorts of interesting characters around the base of this. This, I think, is Klaus Schwab with one of his outfits that he wears to the beach. Note how it's cut away up the inner leg. Very enticing, I'm sure, for his friends, Trudeau and the like. And then here, no, this is lying down actually. This figure, I think. There's a nice one. Another my animals. Sorry, back's getting quite sore because I have to lean over to do these things. So Mrs. van Rensburg becomes a face. Check at the eyes at the top there. And that's just part of her face. And here we got another one on the other side. News desk, which places us on a newspaper. And then this wonderful chap. Okay, so I've just read here, this is from Peter Miles, who was a director of the Publicity Association for a while. Music, blah, blah, blah. Climax of the Spring Festival will be the Great Train Race, which happened on the Apple Express steam train, which used to race against teams from different companies from Port Elizabeth out into the interior somewhere. Great thing, just lost in the New South Africa. Just another of the many tourist attractions that have been squandered by lazy people lying under trees with strange shaped legs and odd friends rising out of the earth almost. Look at that chin there. Yeah. This is definitely New World Order stuff, this. It's a bit like the first drawing I showed with that strange little face. Again, Mrs. Lowe, Mr. Lowe. Perhaps those are thought bubbles. Deep thinker, this way, you can see it. Andre Erasmus, PE, Press Club Steering Committee. So he chaired that. He was the news editor on the Herald for many years. And he didn't realize he would one day end up alongside creatures like this sacred, saintly creature, I guess, or this one, or even this one with a vacant face. Andre emigrated to the UK about 20 years ago, I'd say. Cap Tour, I see upside down, Cape Tourism. So this was a press release about them. So notice how these bird heads with their beaks also become an animal with strange legs, and so there's his head and there's the bird's head. Let's just zoom in a bit. And then up the side here we've got a sort of baboon-like creature. Yeah, Cape Tour. '89-90 conference, eh? We're getting to the end of the 80s here, but we will go back in time again. This is from the former, University of Port Elizabeth. That used to be their logo before they ditched the name and became Nelson Mandela University. Quite sad. I mean, all that history just gone. And it was a good university. I think we'll make this the last of this batch. Dorothy Shaw, floral art, because I also wrote the odd art review. I would get these press releases from all sorts of arts and crafts organizations. Anyway, she's now immortalized in this drawing. Yeah, so I'll have to leave it there for now. Cheers.